Greetings, YouTube. Yeah, I've worked our way back into the WGS Arcade. We're back with more Time Tenshi 2. And on the last episode, they basically kind of surmised that Michelle has merged with the time window. And then they're also kind of worried because they can't contact Bunny or Mizuki in the future. So basically what Tensei has done is, since in this timeline we saved our parents, or Kenji's parents, he told him to stay with his parents until he called for him, because there was really nothing Kenji could do, and well, he's kind of right on that point. So they're gonna try. Tensei, Kyo, and Rose are gonna try to figure out what to do and see if there's anything they could do to help Michelle at her point in time. So let's go ahead and later in the time window room.
We're gonna need to make some serious changes here.
What do you mean, Tensei?
We need to do more than simply test and see if the time window is still usable. We've been far too lax about safety protocols.
Are you kidding? Right from the start, you've been the one arguing for playing it safe and taking every possible precaution and all the rest of it.
Yes, but it obviously wasn't enough. Your current condition is proof of that. As is the incident where Kenji was accidentally knocked into the time window.
Now, hold on. That honestly was an accident. Something went haywire when...
Yes, so you've said, but you've said a great many things, Michelle. Only some of which have been true.
But I have no reason to lie to you or anyone else. You all know about me and what I've been doing. Why would I lie to you about something like this? Besides, you know it never was Kenji's life like that, or anybody else's.
Perhaps not knowingly, but I think we've already established that you have far less respect for the forces we're tampering with here than I do. And your definition of what is and what isn't dangerous clearly isn't the same as mine. However, that is neither here nor there. The point is that we clearly need to implement new safety equipment to prevent similar accidents from happening in the future, and we still need to...
Before Tensei could finish his sentence, Rose entered the time window room, carrying a tray stacked with muffins, a pitcher of lemonade, and several glasses. Sorry to take so long, everyone, but since we're going to be working late today, I thought I should bring some refreshments. Oh, great, thanks!
Thank you, Rose, but be sure not to spill anything on the equipment. I think we've had enough to go wrong. We've had enough go wrong for one day.
I know. Carefully setting the tray down, Rose poured lemonade into each of the glasses and put a blueberry muffin on a small plate before passing them out.
Here you go, Kyo.
Thanks, Rose. And this is for you, Tensei.
Thank you, my dear.
And of course, I didn't forget about you, Michelle. I knew you wouldn't. Thanks. Michelle reached towards the glass and muffin, only for her hands to pass completely through both of them without any resistance. Huh? Once again, Michelle tried to take the food and drink in her hands, but her intangible form passed straight through them like they were mere illusions. What in the...
Tensei, Michelle, she can't. So I see. Michelle's physical form is clearly out of phase with our third-dimensional plane of existence. She's not physically here, so she can't physically interact with us. At least, not enough to hold physical objects.
Huh? But wait a second, Michelle's trapped outside of time and she can't eat or drink or anything like that. Then...
I think we better get back to work. Immediately.
Right. Yeah! And don't worry, Michelle, we'll figure something out. Huh? Oh, yeah, sure. Everyone in the time window room set aside their food and drink and went to work, leaving Michelle helpless to do anything but stand there, watching as her fate was left in the hands of others. A week passed after what happened with Michelle. A solid week that I spent at home fighting the urge to watch the telephone. To watch and wonder when Tensei, or someone else would call me to let me know what was happening, if they had found some way to help Michelle, if Mizuki or Bunny had shown up again, or something. But Tensei never called, nor did Rose or Kyo. And then the few times I tried to call the lab myself, the only response I got was from my grandfather's answering machine. He was leaving me frustrated and worried that and giving my imagination plenty of fuel for my nightmares. So I dealt with this in the best way I knew how, which led to the other urge I felt, the urge to masturbate, the urge to be with my family. Here you go, waffles with strawberries and turkey sausages. I don't believe this. Kenji again?
Hey, don't complain, dear. I never complain about not having to cook.
But seriously, Kenji, you've been pampering us like this
Ever since you came back from your grandfather's lab last week. First you treat us to a night at the movies, then that dinner 2 nights ago, and breakfast like this?
Oh, don't tell me you're worried about your weight. As Mom gave Dad a dirty scowl, Shanine gave me a softer, more concerned look. This isn't like you, Kenji. You've been acting strangely for a while now, and I haven't heard from your grandfather either. You mean the same father who could bury himself in the lab for months and completely forget that time doesn't stand still for his sake? I'm just saying that I'm concerned, that's all. Is something happening, Kenji? Something we should know about? I wasn't sure what to say about this. Tensei had never told either of my parents about the time window and the secret world of time travel that he and I now lived in. And if my parents had perished in that blaze, he wouldn't have told me about it either, if not for the fact that he was pretty much the only family I had left. So without any better ideas, I shrugged and decided to wing it. Yes, something's wrong. Your breakfasts are getting cold. Now that is wrong. Come on, honey, I'm sure if something was up, Kenji would tell us about it. Why can't you trust our son? I do trust him. As my mother and father continued to discuss my obvious secrecy, I sat down at the table and proceeded to enjoy both the breakfast I had made, along with the sound of their voices, the feel of the warm dining room of my family's house, all of the comforts of home, and all of the things that in another time I had lost forever. But as I was finishing breakfast, the sound of the phone ringing caught my attention, and with the sound returned all the aspects of the other life I had been leading recently. I'll get it. Okay. Look, honey, I admit he has been acting a bit strangely lately, but I'm sure there's a logical explanation. Like what? Well, think about it. He's 18. It won't be long before he graduates from high school. College is waiting in the wings, probably anxious about leaving home, and as my parents continued their discussion in the background, I looked at the telephone just long enough to confirm that the call was from Tensei before picking up the receiver. Hello, Grandpa, it's me.
Hello, Kenji. Listen, can you come to the lab right now? We're about ready to restart our operations, and I'd like to talk to you about some of the changes we've made here.
I'll be right there. After that, I finished breakfast in record time, all the while hurriedly explaining that Tensei wanted me at his lab. I dashed out of my home and down the streets. I ran at full throttle until I reached the field that was home to the lab complex, where the fate of time and space quite possibly hung in the balance. But as I approached the lab perimeter, Kenji. Wowzers. I think she's into soccer. That's almost a soccer outfit, if her boobs weren't really exploding out of the shirt. Turning about, I was greeted with the sight of Rose running towards me with a big smile on her face. As her blonde hair flowed about her like a golden cloak, my eyes were quickly drawn to her ample bosom, which was bouncing about excitedly. Why don't they make these with animation? Straining the t-shirt she wore. Again, I got a vividly bad imagination. Rose? As I continued to stare in surprise, Rose came to a stop in front of me, her chest heaving with every breath she took. Her shirt clung to her generous proportions, perspiration causing it to fit tightly to her ample curves as they bounced up and down while she caught her breath. Oh, God. I wasn't expecting you. Did Tensei call you here? Yeah, I just got the call a few minutes ago. But I wasn't expecting to see you out here. Why not? I told you before that I go out for a run around the lab's perimeter every day. I wonder how many stares that she gets just from that outfit. Oh, you don't remember that, do you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, that's all right. I understand. We all have some holes in our memories after. No, forget I said anything. How you've been doing? Tensei's been keeping us very busy, and well, I've been okay, just spending time with my family, that's all, making up for. I still remember that day, Rose. Every time I think of that fire, I swear I can hear my parents screaming for help. And at this, Rose grabbed me by the wrist, prompting me to look into her eyes as she gave a slight shake of her head. Don't do this to yourself, Kenji. I understand you wanting to be with your family after what happened. But that fire is gone. It may have been real once, but it's not anymore. It's nothing but a bad dream now. I just wish that bad dream was one of the things I forgot when time tossed around. So what about you and the others? What have you been doing? What about Michelle? Any luck finding a way too? No, she's still trapped. And I don't mind admitting that we had a bad scare after you left last week. Rose quickly filled me in on what happened right after I'd left. So she can't touch anything? She hasn't had anything to eat or drink since? I know, we're all in a panic after we realized that. I'll bet. She hasn't gotten any worse, has she? No, there's been no sign of dehydration or wasting. Nothing you would expect in a situation like that. The only thing we've been able to come up with is that the constant exposure to the quantum forces outside of our own reality is somehow sustaining her, keeping Michelle alive. Right now, all we have is guesswork. We haven't been able to examine Michelle's physical body directly since the whole thing started. Tensei wouldn't even let us go anywhere near the time window until after you had left. To be honest, I think he was afraid that we'd get pulled into it like Michelle was. Well, at least she's alive, so we have a chance of saving her. I know, but still, worried. Don't forget that time travel has a strong effect on a person's body. I'm worried that the longer she's left inside the time pocket she's trapped in, the more likely she'll suffer some kind of brain damage, or maybe even worse, giant boobs. Well, I guess you know about that with what with your studies in brain chemistry and biology. Rose managed another slight smile. I'm glad you didn't lose all your memories from before. Still, yes, time is definitely a factor here. There's just no way of knowing how long she can survive being trapped in time like that. And then there's our new recruit. Oh, they got a new recruit? New recruit? Oh wait, Tensei did say something about finding someone to take Michelle's place, didn't he? He did, and well, I don't know if it's just the situation or what, but she didn't make a good first impression on me or Kyo. So Michelle's replacement is a girl? What's her name? What she's like? Her name's Tessa, and for what she's like, I really don't know much about her, except that she's a former cheerleader. Okay, that's odd. A cheerleader? A cheerleader seemed like a strange choice of person to call in to replace Michelle, but I had to admit that a biologist like Rose also seemed like an unlikely person to play the role of a sword-wielding, time-hopping knight. Listen, why don't you go on ahead? I'm sure Tensei will handle introductions, and I'd like to finish up my run before heading down. And what we're going to do right now, guys and gals, we're going to go ahead and finish up this episode, and when we come back to the arcade, we're going to go see what Tensei wanted and possibly meet Tess. So with that being said, I am your friendly neighborhood WrestleGamer, and I will see you at the next Warp Zone. Bye, guys!
Oh my God! Train wreck! Big damn near torment hat! Train wreck spear!
It's clearly changed. Our future has just been altered. And since our future is the past, for Bunny and Mizuki,
The butterfly effect?